Welcome to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting this morning with Rebecca Hartline from Massillon Christian School. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've been there. You are the principal of Massillon Christian, but also prior to that have been a teacher and continue to teach. Just tell me a little bit about your experience there, what you love about it.
Well, it's more like a family. The teachers are just always working together. We get along really well, and we know the students so very well. It's like a family. We just really enjoy each other.
To know the students really well, how big of an enrollment do you have right now?
It's right around 80 students, K through 12. And, like in English, they have me for 4 years once they hit high school. So either we like each other or we don't, but no, we do.
And when you talk about 80 students, so how many in a class? That's a very good ratio of teacher to student.
Right. So that helps them academically. Anywhere from 5 to 10 in a class.
Senior graduating class of maybe 10?
Or less.
Or less.
Depending upon the year.
What do you see that doing as far as a benefit to the students themselves?
Well, they get a lot, like we said, one-on-one with the teachers. If you got questions, it's easy to talk to them. Study hall, they can go down to the teacher's room. And the kids are very academic, so they encourage each other, even if kids aren't, coming in from homeschooling or public school, and they help them out because it's, everybody does their homework. Mm-hmm. So in that way, you have a lot of support. You have a lot of support from your parents because they're paying to have their kids go to school.
Right. And do you find that the students have a different attitude towards school because it is not free as public school? Do you find that the students themselves have a different way they approach it, or it's pretty much still free for them because mom and dad are footing the bill? What do you find?
Well, you have some of that, but most of the kids value it very much because they know their parents are sacrificing for them to be there. Maybe they can't get that second car, or they can't go on that vacation, or other things like that. So they value it for the most part, the kids do. They also like the interaction that it's not just their class because they have sometimes that they're combined with other ones. So, they have a good relationship with the junior high kids because they play on sports teams with them. To complete their teams, they have to do that. So they're always helping each other out. We got a lot of tutoring going on in the grade school from the junior high and high school, things helping out the grade school teachers.
Oh, I want to get back into that more a little bit later. Let's talk about the history. What was the inspiration for Massillon Christian School in the first place?
Well, that's a cool thing because I was there from the very start. I remember I was only 11 when they started talking about the school. And then Reverend Cummins, which is the founder of the church and the school and the college, he did a lot of speaking all over the country. And so he traveled, researching about schools. And so I remember I was 14, and that's the minimum of being able to vote for things in the church. And I got to vote for the Christian school.
Wow.
I'm too old for the school because they started K through 6, and then they added a year each year. Mm-hmm. But my youngest sister was able to come to the school. So it was cool.
What did you see from that perspective of your sister? What did you see her experience being?
Well, the neat thing is she, when she got to be in 8th grade, that was my first year of teaching at the Christian school. So I actually had her as a student 8 through 12.
Oh my.
It's a good thing she was a really good student and very, very nice.
How tough on her were you?
Yeah. Well, at first it was kind of weird because she handled it well. Her classmates handled it well. I didn't handle it very well. I ignored her in the classroom because I thought that would make it easier. And so that was kind of traumatic that her sister was ignored. And so once I settled down, it went really well.
Well, that first year of teaching can be tough anyway.
Yeah.
So interesting, though, that you would step into that position. Tell me a little bit about your background. Where had you gotten your teaching degree and so forth?
I graduated from high school from Tuscarawas Valley High School, and then I went to Malone. It was called Malone College then, and got my teaching degree. I also have a master's in English, so I could do something else with it if I wanted to. I also have a degree in psychology. And so I was hired right before I graduated from there, I was hired at Massillon Christian, and that's where I wanted to go.
You certainly are able to place those teachers every time before they're crossing the stage to get their diplomas. They all know where they're going next. It is pretty cool. So your experience has been pretty unique because now you are also the principal. What kind of a transition has that been for you?
Actually, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. I've kind of felt like Moses, because they kept approaching me from about March on, and I kept finding reasons why I couldn't do it. And then I'd say, well, this one, and, like Moses did, and then God took care of that one, and the next one. So finally, it was just the 1st of June, and I said, okay, God, I'm tired of arguing with you. I'm not smart enough to do this, but I'll step through whatever door you open, and you got to figure out how to do all this, because I can't. And he has. Yeah. He's figured it out.
What do you notice difference in this role? Do you feel more further removed from the students, or are you right in there because you're in the classroom, staying close to the students as an administrator?
I was worried about that too, because I thought, well, maybe the parents or the students or the teachers are going to feel like, well, she's busy teaching. When can I see her? And the neat thing is they keep telling me that I'm more available than any principal anywhere that they've ever been, because they don't have to make an appointment to see me, because I'm in the hallway, I'm in the classroom, I'm in the gym, because I also do coaching. My husband and I coach the girls' basketball team.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we enjoy that.
Principal, teacher, and coach.
Yeah. But that's what I like to do.
Yeah,
so.
You pretty much live at Massillon Christian.
Exactly.
Let's tell everybody where you're located.
Massillon Christian Schools at 965 Overlook Avenue Southwest in Massillon, and it sits off on the parking lot of the Massillon Baptist Temple.
And as an outreach of Massillon Baptist
Correct.
Temple, you mentioned a college as well.
Yes, we have a college that was started exactly the same year as the school, and it trains people for the ministry, like, missionaries, Sunday school teachers, preachers, those type of things. I mean, you can take just a Bible course just to take Bible courses also.
Oh, how could people do that? Because some people just want to brush up on their Bible before they
Exactly. We have a lot of people, a lot of adults that choose to do that. And kids that graduate from schools, sometimes they'll do just 1 year Bible certificate before they step into their college where they're going to get their degree in something else.
Is there a website where all of this information might be?
Yeah, if you go to the Massillon Baptist Temple, the links come from it. I mean, we each have our website, but if you just pull up Massillon Baptist Temple, the links are there.
For either the school
or the college. It's called Massillon Baptist College.
Perfect.
Yep.
Easy to remember. Let's talk about the academics at Massillon Christian School.
Well, because we have such a ratio of student to teacher, we're very much college prep. And if other kids come in that are, more business oriented, or, they just want to graduate and work in the workforce, we have a lot of things to help them out if they're not academically as strong as others, but it definitely is an academic school.
So pretty tough curriculum.
Yeah, because even in the grade school, they're going to have homework. I mean, it's pretty much the way it was when I was in school. A lot of schools are not like that anymore, but we're very traditional in our education, so they're going to learn a lot. A lot of the schools, when kids transfer in, they're behind, and we help them to get up.
Oh, that's interesting.
To where they need
that
to
you
be.
Are finding that they're a little bit lagging behind most when they come.
Especially in math and grammar. They're usually behind.
Very interesting. Okay, and where do you find them transferring from? If they've moved from out of state, or just
sometimes
transferring from a public school locally?
Yeah, because sometimes they will transfer out of a public school when they hit junior high school, because they're afraid of the huge public schools and the influence. So we get a lot in at that time. Now we're getting more into the elementary, because they're getting those middle schools that are dipping farther and farther down into our grade schools. So we've been getting even upper elementary.
Well, let me ask you this, since you said
and homeschoolers.
And homeschoolers, exactly. But I'm going to guess that they're not lagging behind.
Not usually. The only trouble they tend to have would be note-taking, but most of the time the mothers and fathers do a good job.
Or remembering to raise your hand before you say something.
Or sit in a seat for a long period
Taking
of time.
turns. That's harder when you've been homeschooled.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though, as to also extracurriculars, because you do have a small class and you offer everything.
Right.
So how do you make that work?
The boys have soccer in the fall, and then they have basketball. But both teams, we had a good record last year in soccer. It was a winning record. Basketball, we only lost, I think the record was 16-6.
Wow.
And, we've got 5 powerhouse high school kids that play. And then they had, sitting on the bench, 2 little 7th graders.
Who are learning from the best.
Yeah. And for a while, it was just the one 7th grader. And, he would spell them for a moment. And they did really well. And then in the girls, we have volleyball in the fall. And they're very competitive. And then we have girls basketball. And we also have cheerleading for the girls. And then we have Little Chargers soccer and basketball for the grade school.
So they're very active. I'm guessing that everybody does everything.
Everything, including the drama. Like our play last year, we did Horatio Spafford's story, where his daughters died in that sinking of the boat.
And he
it's
wrote
called
it
Until
as
Then.
Well with My Soul.
So we did that play this last year with all that music. She had 34 people in the play. And we have less than 30 kids in the high school. so she dips down
everybody in the high
grade school. Yeah. Some of those are sound people. So, she does. And they do a good job. We do a dinner theater every spring.
Oh, my goodness.
So.
We'll get more into that. Before we get too far away from academics, I did want to circle back and ask you, the reason that parents choose a Christian school is primarily because you're looking for the school to back up your values.
Exactly.
And you don't have to be as concerned about what some of the curriculum might be teaching if that goes against your core beliefs. Can you touch on that a little bit about how you teach the sciences and math? You mentioned many students come in are lagging behind math. Well, they're being taught Common Core, and I think mom and dad are having a hard time helping with homework with Common Core.
Yeah.
How do you approach some of those content areas?
Well, once again, our students do really well. We have, ones that are doctors and lawyers and all kinds of fields and teachers and missionaries. So they do well. They do compete. We can't offer everything that a public school offers, but we have, like my college prep English class, I take them to Malone University so that they see a smaller college and realize that their tiny library here is just like that. There's just more books.
Yes.
We know how to use the computers. And then I actually take them up to Kent State's main campus, 13-floor library, so they realize they can function anywhere.
Yes.
Their small school is just on a small scale. There's just more books. So we do a lot of that. Our math teacher has taken the students to a math tournament down in a large Christian school in Kentucky, and they compete in their bracket, and so that makes it a little more interesting. They do really well. I don't know. They just do a lot of things like that to make sure they're doing well. We test well. The kids are motivated to spur themselves on to do more and more. So, and we encourage them.
So the other thing that parents would be looking at would be the spiritual development of their children. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Well, like in everything, we open all of our classes with prayer, and most of the teachers take turns with the students giving a short devotional right at the beginning of the period. And I actually started about 5 years ago going straight through an entire book of the Bible. And so it's pretty neat when the kids graduate. I said, do you realize how many books of the New Testament that we have covered since you were a freshman in high school, doing one verse per day?
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
And so they were like, wow, we covered this. And because a lot of times when you're reading your Bible, you skip over verses maybe you don't understand, and you go to ones that you do. Well, this one, we do every verse. You take turns, and alphabetically, this is yours. And they can ask me questions. They can look up stuff, whatever. But they have to be prepared to say something about it they do understand. And then I am equipped to explain, what they didn't understand.
What a wonderful way to incorporate
Yeah.
biblical principles into all of life and all of the classwork. We need to take a break. We're visiting with Rebecca Hartline from Massillon Christian School. You're listening to Our Community.